guys, Bitmaster here, back in another video, and in today's video I'm going to be teaching you guys how to extract and decode and parse and show all of the Windows security questions in Microsoft Windows. So I wrote a little notepad thing out here for us to kind of step it out. It's 5 simple steps. Your application has to run a system layer, system level token, so you can actually access the SAM key and the proper hive that we're going to be looking into today to be able to find these security questions and pull them out and then parse them, etc., etc. So the first step is to get our application to run a system. And then the second step, once we've achieved that goal, is to export the registry entries that we're actually interested in. And we're going to do that with a simple command prompt call and to the user account, and we're going to save it as whatever we want, .text on our desktop or whatever. And then after that, we have to look through that something text file that we exported from our SAM hive, our SAM key registry, and we have to parse it. And we have to pull out the reset data hex values, which is essentially every single one of our security questions, if you will. And then we have to extract the Q&A once we parsed it properly, and we want to parse it. It's in raw JSON format, so we're going to parse the JSON, and we're going to pull out the questions and the answers, and we're going to display them in the list view. And that's it. And then afterward, we're going to clean up by removing our temporary registry hive file that we jerked out of the registry, and we're going to delete that and return our application to normal privileges, and etc., etc. So, and guys, I do apologize. I'm not really feeling too well today, so I'm going to be coughing quite a bit. I apologize for that. If you have to, just turn the volume down. But let's go ahead and get this party started. So the first thing we're going to have to do, which kind of wasn't listed here, is, well, obviously we got to make a graphical interface, right? So let's go ahead and do that now. So with the window here, I'll just label the caption as Windows questions and answers viewer, and then we're going to put this a theme. So we're going to go project options, and we're going to give ourselves a nice little theme. I'm also vaping quite a bit today. That's probably part of the problem why I'm coughing so damn much. Anyway, we're going to look around for, I don't know, just something cool. Charcoal looks okay, why not? Sure, let's go with that one for now. So now we need a button, and we're going to throw that down here. So just make a button, make it go the full width of the bottom of the form, I suppose, and make it a little bigger like that. Kind of drag it down a bit. Okay, that looks good. Now we're going to need to get a list view. So here's a list view. Let's drag and drop it, right click it, go to columns editor and add 2 columns. We're going to select both columns, auto size them to true, and then click the first column to select it, change its caption to question. And then the second one will be answer. And then we're going to close that out, and we're going to go to the very bottom of our object inspector and set the view style to report. And now we're going to drag this, and we're going to make it look nice and pretty, just like that. And we're going to drag this down just a hair. Perfect. Looks great, right? And the button caption, we're going to go up to the caption, and we're going to change that to show Windows security questions and answers. There you go. I know that's a long title, but there you go. I got to save this, so let me go ahead and save the project as, and I'm going to go to my desktop, and we are going to save that as, and just give me a sec here, guys. I got to find my folder. We will just do this, and I'm going to save it as Q and A viewer. Okay, so now that we got that project saved, we're ready to roll. So for the icon of the form, let's go ahead and go down to the icon here, double click that, load, and I'm going to go to images and media, and we got a little Windows icon there. I thought that would be cool. So we'll just add that and hit OK. And now we've got ourselves a nice little GUI set up, right? I'm going to set the anchors on this to be true, 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 true for top left, bottom right. And on the button, I'm going to put it to the left, to the right, and to the bottom. So now we can actually drag this thing around and it'll look cool, right? See that? All right, so there you have it. And on this, for the border icons, we're going to take off the maximize because we don't really need it. And that's all there is to it, guys. So now we have a kind of a thing made up, and we can get ourselves a pop-up menu. So let's grab a pop-up, throw it down on there. Assign that pop-up menu to the list view. So click on the list view to select the list view. Go down to pop-up menu. Let's select pop-up menu 1. Double click the pop-up menu to start designing it, and I'm going to design the pop-up menu like so. Copy, let's do copy question. And the second one will be copy answer. All right, great. So then we're going to go down to position. So whenever this program runs, it will open right in the screen center, okay? Right in the center of your screen. That's right where we want it, right in our sweet spot, right? So when I click run, it's going to compile, build, and execute our executable file, and there you have it. And now we can see what we're doing here. We can right click on this, and we can see our button and all that. Looks good, right? All right, so now then, when the program runs and loads, we're going to take a look back at our notepad document here. So the first tricky part is we have to figure out a way to run a system, because before we can do anything at all, like, we're not going to be able to get to this SAM key. And here, I'll prove it to you. Let's check this out. So like, I'll do registry. So this is my Windows registry editor, or Windows registry editor viewer and all this. So if I pull this kind of over here where you can see, we're trying to get to HKey local machine and SAM, and inside of SAM. And as you can see, there's nothing here. Like, when I go into the SAM key directory, there's nothing. It shows literally nothing. And that's because I'm running as a basic user. I mean, I'm running as myself. I'm not running a system or trusted installer or anything like that. So I'm not going to be able to have the permissions to get in here and see all this stuff. So as you can see, if there's SAM and then SAM, okay, so follow along. This is HKLM, that stands for HKey local machine, Hive key local machine, and then this is SAM, SAM. Okay, so I'm this far, right? But I can't see domains, accounts, users, or my default user. I can't, because I don't have the assigned token level permissions to be able to get in there to see those things. So the problem becomes, how are you going to be able to get in there and extract it out? Well, that's actually quite simple. You have to make this program kind of circumvent Windows in such a way that you can run as system, so that it can see this and extract it for us, get it out where we can see it, and then we can parse it and extract the Q&As and show them on our list view. You kind of get what I'm getting at here, guys? So this program that we're writing is going to, when we click this button, the button that show Windows security questions and answers, we're going to circumvent Windows security in such a way that our app is reran kind of in a background state, if you will, kind of like backgrounded as system level account permissions, token level permissions, and it's going to be able to actually see what's in here. Like, we won't do it like personally, because we already know via my notepad, we already have done the research, and we know that our user accounts are in SAM, domains, account, users, and then this is generally the default user that's logged into Microsoft Windows, right? So because we already know this, we can just hard code it into our application. Now, I think I actually will go ahead and make a loop thing where it looks for the proper user in here, but we'll get to that later. So we're going to close out the registry editor, because as of right now, we can't see anything, we can't do anything, right? So let's head over to our program, and in our program, we're going to have to do some stuff. So whenever our program runs, we want to have the event of onCreate. So whenever we create, we want something to happen here, right? And basically, we're gonna have to do quite a bit of stuff. Not gonna lie, guys. It's a little bit of code because we have to first detect if we're running like as an administrator, because in order to, and here I'll show you this again, in order to get to the system level, first of all, you would have to be running as an admin, like as a UAC admin, to easily be able to then achieve system level, and to circumvent the UAC. So unless you have like a UAC bypass, you won't be able to just get to this right away. You would have to have a UAC bypass method. Then you could get to this pretty simply. Um, so for this example, I'm actually just going to be showing you guys like more legit way of doing this, because I don't want to be like showing malicious stuff, right? So like this application is to be used for like, general purpose, like, be able to run it, click the button, and show your security questions. So I'm not really going to dive into UAC bypassing and stuff like that. Maybe in another security video. This one is just a very basic video showing how to get your security questions if you forgot them, right? So on the form create, we're going to need to um, check and see if we're running as admin first. So to do that, I have a function here. I'm just going to copy it and paste it in for you guys. This is just a simple isElevated function. It returns a Boolean, true or false. So we're going to check if we're actually running as an elevated user via the query token of the current process. As you can see, we get our token handle, elevation, and our information for the token. And if we're running as a UAC elevated user, then it would return true. If we're not, it would return false. So in the actual create code, this is what we're going to kind of be dealing with here. So let's go ahead and call this function. So whenever the form actually does get created, we can say right here, we can say if is elevated equals false. So if it's elevated, like if it's not elevated, we want to begin doing something here. And we can just do, I'm just going to kind of copy a couple of lines of code here, guys. I'm trying to not type as much today because I'm sick. So we're going to do show message. This application must be executed with admin rights. And we're going to halt our program. We're not going to go any further. You see that? So this little check right here makes sure that we're running as admin first. If we're not running as admin, we can't do anything anyway. So we're not going to continue. We're just going to show the user the message saying, hey, you got to make sure you run this program, this executable with admin rights. If not, it's just going to halt the program and die out, right? All right, so now we're going to have to get our desktop path. So we're going to do desktop path, and we're going to say that should be get environment variable. So get environment variable, and we will inside of this, we're going to get our user profile information, and then we're going to go ahead and put a backslash to our desktop. So that is that. So this should be able to get us our stuff here, right? Now, in terms of the desktop path being read and all this and that, what you have to do is create a public variable for this. And remember, guys, we're going to be using this desktop path through the entirety of our entire application's runtime, like past this point. So it's best we just put it at the top of our code in public variables. So as you can see, we now have that. And the next thing that's showing red is get environment variable. Okay, so essentially, the problem with this is that we have to include the proper uses clause statement. Otherwise, Delphi doesn't know like where we're grabbing that from. So it's actually part of the system sysutils, I believe. So if we scroll to the top, we can type in, looks like sysutils is good. Let's try running and see if we get an error. Yeah, it does. So for the get environment variable, we'll have to make our own function for this. Let me go ahead. Probably just misspelled it. There you go. I misspelled it. Sorry about that, guys. So now that we've got our desktop path to our defaultly logged in user, we can proceed. Okay. So what we're going to do at this stage is we're going to need to get our username. And the username for Microsoft Windows can be held in a D word or a double word. So what we'll do is on form create, we're going to make a variable called username length, which is username length. And this will be a D word, which is just a double word. Okay. So down below here, we can now say username length will be equal to the size of the username, and we're going to divide that by the size of a character. Okay, so the username portion here is actually also going to be an array of characters. So let's go back up to this, and the user name will be an array of 0, and we will take that to 225, or 255, I'm sorry, and then it'll be of characters. Okay, super simple stuff, guys. So now that we've got our desktop path and we've got our username linked, we're going to be putting it into the username variable. So we'll say if get username length, then, and we've already got that, so we'll go then begin, and we're going to say if string compare the username with system is equal to 0, which means we're not running a system. Okay, so we're comparing our username. We're seeing if we're actually running as a user that's currently just logged into Microsoft Windows, or if we're actually running as the system user itself, right? Because remember, here I'll show you in this notepad, remember I said we have to be running a system, right? So when you click the button, we need to do some stuff to be able to see if we're actually like running a system already. But because of the way I'm doing this, I'm actually going to do it kind of weird. Like when we click the button, we're just going to, we're essentially going to use the button to parse data, okay? But like when the program runs on form create, we're actually going to make sure here that we're running a system so that we're prepped to be able to grab the stuff out of the registry, if you kind of follow me, okay? So what we've got is we've got our desktop path, our username. We're going to check to see and string compare our username that we grepped out of Windows, and we're going to see if we're running a system. If we're not running a system, right? So if we string compare that and we're not running a system, then we're going to have to take action to do something. Okay, so we're going to here. Let's go ahead and do begin, Control D, and right here we are going to say, let's put a comment here. We're going to try to export all user desktops found in C:\users. Okay, so this is kind of what we're doing. We're looping through all of our users, and we're trying to find out if we are, running a system and whatnot. We're gonna grab all this stuff, and guys, I'm gonna speed this up a little bit because my typing sucks today. So what I'm gonna do is say we are going to copy this all the way down to the end, which is exactly what I'm doing. So boom. Okay, so basically, and you'll have to bear with me, guys. Here, I'm gonna make sure that we have all of our variables lined out and in place. So let me just paste. So we've created two new variables for this: a tsearchrec, or a search record, and a boolean for if all files exist. This is shell execute. Let's go ahead and pop up to the top. Make sure we put shell API, so we can use the Microsoft Windows Shell API. Okay, so let me talk you through this code. So we're going to get our desktop path, we're going to get our username length, we're going to then string compare the username that we grepped to system and see if we get a 0, which means it didn't match, it's false. We're going to then loop through all the users in Microsoft Windows. So let's Control D this. So if we're gonna use the find first API, which is just looking for a directory, okay, to add to our search record. We're going to search the path with a wildcard. So we're searching in users for every single user. Like we're going to look for public, we're going to look for all users, we're going to look for default user, all this stuff, right? So we're going to find anything with a dot. We're trying to skip these, if you catch my drift, right? Because if you think about it, we don't need access to public. We don't need access to all users. We don't need access to default user. And just to be safe, if there's any periods in there or double period related stuff, we don't care. So we're trying to run a system. So we're going to skip the public, skip the all users, skip the default user, and anything else that we find in between those lines. We're not going to mess with that crap, right? So so if we're running a system, we have the power to look in all these places, okay? So we're going to string compare, make sure we're running as system, okay? Then we're going to come down. We're going to loop through all the user folders. We're not going to look in public. We don't care about this or this or this. We don't care. We're just looking for somewhere to save our exported registry key values, if you will, okay? So now we're going to call shell execute, which is going to execute a command shell under the token of system level permissions, okay? So, and what we're doing is we're telling the command prompt to do a registry export of this key, okay? And if, as you can see, I'm telling it, hey, look in our registry, pull out the SamSam domains account users, blah, and add it to our desktop. See our search rec name, you see this? This is going to be equivalent to the username that we found to begin with, right? Where we're going to save our file to. And we're going to save it to that person's username to their desktop as something.txt. You kind of get that so far, guys? And the /y, I believe, is like to yes, replace a file. I'm not really quite sure on that. But anyway, and this is going to show hidden. So in other words, it's not going to show at all. This will all be in the background, and the user will not see a thing. He won't even know it's happening, right? And then we're going to repeat this all the way until the search record is not 0. In other words, we found a user to actually do this to, right? And then we're going to close the search record. We're done searching around. We're finished, right? Now we have to wait for the files to exist on all the desktops. Now keep this in mind, guys. We are shell executing this, so we have to give it time. So like whenever we're telling the command prompt to export the registry, that's going to take time. I mean, it's going to take at least like a second or two, maybe more. I mean, however long it takes, right? It's an entire registry export, right? So we're going to export that. Down here, we have to wait for the file to exist, which is this something.txt, which is our registry key that we just extracted, right? We have to wait for this file to exist before we can get into it and parse it, decode it, etc., etc. So all I've done is say repeat the following until all files do exist, which is a boolean. So I'm actually putting here all files exist is equal to true, like right away off the bat. So we're going to find first, and we're going to go to the users all. We're searching through this. We're going to literally ensure that we do not place the extracted key on any of the following desktops. This is very important, guys. This is why I wrote this, because I didn't want to clutter like other desktops and crap. You kind of get what I'm getting at? Because like if you put text files on like every single desktop you have, you won't ever see them and all, but it takes up hard drive space. It's just stupid, right? Even if it is a few KB, but still, it's just retarded. So I wanted to make sure to skip all of this crap. So we don't care, again, like just like up here, guys, we don't care about public, we don't care about all users, we don't care about the default user. All we care about is our user, because that's where we're extracting it to. Okay? So all of this code is to simply skip all of these garbage accounts and not give a crap about them, right? And then once we do find one that's not them, then we must assume that must be us, right? So I'm saying if not, file exists. So if the something.txt does not exist on our desktop, then all files exist equals false. So we're constantly looping and checking none of these, but only us. And if it exists, if it does not exist, then it's false. And then we're breaking out of the loop. Okay? So we're going to loop this until find next search record is not 0, which means we did actually find a desktop to look at, and we did find the text file that could have been there, right? Then we're going to find close. We're finished searching. Now, if not all files exist, then we're going to sleep for 100 milliseconds and do it all over again and again and again and again and again and again and again until all files do exist, which means this text file does in fact exist on none of these, but possibly on ours only. You get it? You kind of get that, guys? So that's going to be that. And then we know for absolute certainty that this this exists. So we've properly elevated ourselves to system level, and we've properly placed the file, and now we can go through and parse it, etc., etc., right? So now then, what we have to basically do is we will start programming on our button one click event procedure code, which I will go ahead and copy and explain to you now. So to make this go faster, guys, I am just going to copy and paste code that I've already written for this sample. So on the button click code, we're actually going to have a file name, an elevated process, and then we're going to begin. So let me go ahead, and for this, I need to include another unit, but for now, I'm just going to go ahead and explain this to you guys, so it's really super simple, okay? So there's a file name, which is a string, elevated process, which is a string. We're going to say if the list view items count is greater than 0, then we're going to clear out the list view. So if you had any previous things inside of this thing when you click the button, it's going to clear it all out, okay? And then after it clears it all out, we're going to come down and say the file name is equal to our desktop path. And you guys remember that, right? Like whenever I went over here to the on-form create event, remember how I told you we're going to be dealing with this like up here up top, like this desktop path? I told you guys we're going to be dealing with this like the entirety of this program's flow. That's why we made it a public variable, right? So when we click the button, we're looking at we are looking at our desktop path. So the file name is our desktop path. And remember what we exported it as? Remember, it's something.txt, right? Right. So then the elevated process needs to be the command prompt, okay? So this is what we're trying to do here. We're trying to get and see if we have that something there, and we're going to we're setting these up, and then we're creating another process to run in the background as an elevated process, okay? And that elevated process is going to be a command prompt, right? Follow me so far, guys? So while not file exists, file name, we're going to sleep. So guys, I'm trying to wrap your minds around this, okay, if you will. Essentially, what we're doing is think of it as not two different programs, but the same program. Like, I'll try to explain this as best I can. This program, you're going to run this program, and you're going to click this button. However, what's going to happen secretly in the background is that we're going to elevate this program, but another instance of it, which is going to be hidden. Okay, so like this program is going to run once, and you're going to see it, and you're going to click the button. Okay, and when you click the button, what you're not going to see is that this same program, believe it or not, is actually going to be ran under the context of system as well. And because it's ran under the context of system, you won't be able to see it because it's on the system desktop, right? The context of the system desktop. So in the background, whenever we did the onForm create, as you can clearly see, we're checking to see if we're running a system. And if we are, we're going to go ahead and circumvent all the security of Windows, and we're going to get that SAM registry out, and we're going to throw it on the desktop. You get that? So the first time you run this program, this will all fail because we're not running a system. You get it? But when we click the button here, this is where we're going to elevate ourselves. And even though I'm using the command prompt to do it, it's actually elevating this program, but in the background on the system desktop. You get it? You kind of get that? So then, you know the event onForm create, right? So like when this program runs on the system desktop, this code will execute. You get it? And because it sees that it's system, it's actually going to go through the registry and it's going to pull it out and it's going to throw it on there. And well, meantime, and in the meanwhile, down here when it gets done, see the halt? That program that's invisible, that we can't see, that's the same damn thing, it's going to die out once the work is finished. You get it? So then, in the process of clicking this button, we made a background process that's this same damn thing running in system, and it grabs all the data and all the information from the registry, throws it on the desktop, and we're just sleeping for 1,000 seconds, which is, well, 1,000 milliseconds, which is 1 second. So until the file exists, something.txt, our application won't freeze. It'll just kind of sleep for 1 second, 1 second, until it sees the something.txt. And once it's there, it knows that we successfully created ourselves as an elevated process, and that elevated process died because it did its job. It got the text file for us. You get it? Pretty cool, right? So then on this, it's gonna proceed. So once it's not sleeping anymore, it says, oh hey, our elevated process, it just grabbed all the registry information that we needed to be able to view the question and answers, the security question and answers. So now we can proceed. So then we're gonna parse that registry file that we extracted, which is the file name, which is something.txt on our desktop, right? So we're gonna parse it, and then we're gonna say we're gonna say if file exists file name, which is our something.txt, right? If it's true, then we're gonna delete the file because we already parsed it. We don't need the file to exist anymore, so we're deleting the file. And that's it, guys. And now that we parsed the registry file, the parsed data, once we parse it, it will show up on the list view. Pretty cool, right? So now you guys totally understand. It's really super simple. Like when you think about it, like this application is kind of like a two-in-one deal. So like when it runs, when you run the application, click run, and it runs, it's going to have this code execute. First of all, it's going to see if we're even elevated at all. If we're not even running up above a UAC elevated privilege level, then it's just going to exit the program. Otherwise, it's going to try to check if it's running a system. If it is, it's going to grab our registry key that we're interested in, and it's going to extract it, and it's going to put it on our desktop, and then it's going to kill itself. It's just going to die, just like if you clicked the close button up here, and that's it. But your copy of it, which is running on your desktop, will stay on. And when you click the button, it will actually it'll create that process, do all that work I just told you, and then it will parse the registry file that was found on your desktop instantly, like in less than a nanosecond, just boom. And then it will delete the file, and that's it. And it will show the stuff, the security questions in the list view. Pretty cool, right? Okay, so I hope I've explained that enough times and for everybody to understand. So now we need to go ahead and kind of proceed this and whatnot. So in order to do this, we need we're going to need a couple of things. So let's look at everything that's red going on here. So this is a create process as system. This has to be done in another unit that I have. The parse registry file, that's actually going to be some other stuff. So let's go ahead and I'm going to copy just a few procedures and functions that I have in order to be able to properly parse the registry files. So right here, I'm just going to make a few blanks, paste. So what I've added here, guys, is here. Let's go ahead and add system.json, and then down in here, and also we need to add system.regex, regular expressions. Okay, so now that we have all this, you see what I've added. I've added the ability for us to turn a hexadecimal value into a string. So that's what this function does. It returns a string. Okay, so and then we're using regular expressions to check that, by the way, and like match these characters and stuff. So we're just converting straight up raw hexadecimal to a string. Okay, and then the parse questions and answers. This is a JSON string, which is just going to be the JSON string that we send to this procedure, and it's going to give be a string value. So we're going. This is the logic that is needed to parse the something.txt file that we extracted. Right? You follow me so far, guys? So we're going to have like, to go through all of the JSON stuff, we're going to have to create a JSON object. We're going to have to make sure it's not nil. We have to make sure that we try to parse the JSON value, and if it can't do it, it's going to say, oh no, that's not good, it's an invalid JSON format. That's how we'll know if we extracted it incorrectly or if we're not passing through a proper JSON formatted string to be able to parse in the first freaking place, right? And then it's going to come down through here, and we're going to look for a JSON array for questions, and we're going to say the questions array. If it's not nil, then we're going to say no questions were found. If not, we're going to do we're going to loop through our questions array count, and we're going to get our question and our answer, and we're going to put it onto the list view just like I told you guys we would, and that's that. And if there's an error or anything goes wrong, we'll say there's an error parsing that JSON. All right, so now then, this is actually added logic for actually parsing the registry file. So what we have to do, once you've actually extracted the something.txt, the actual extracted registry file itself, you have to look through like a million lines of stuff, and you have to find this reset data portion, which is equal to hexadecimal value of whatever line we're on. So we're gonna trim up the registry file, make it all nice and tidy. We're gonna look for this line, and then we're gonna set the start position of what we're actually looking for, and we're gonna go all the way to the end. We're gonna copy all of the lines that have our questions and answers to do with them. You kind of get what I'm getting at there, guys? And then once we're done with that, we're going to say the stop position is where it says user tile. So it's kind of like this, guys. It's like here, I'll try to visualize it. So it's a whole bunch of data like this, but if our code is going to convert all the hex to actual wording, right? So if this was Windows data, some crap, I don't know, and then it goes down to user data, and some crap, and then it comes down to reset data, and then it's going to have equals hex like this or something like that. And then after that is all the hexadecimal data of the questions and answers. Like, you see that? So we're copying from here all the way to here. You kind of get that? So we're copying the hexadecimal values of the questions and the answers right out of raw text. Okay? and we're gonna then parse that, and we're gonna pull it out, and we're gonna deal with it. So let me just delete that. But you kind of get the point now, right, guys? That's really super simple stuff. Super simple stuff. So we're copying all the stuff we need, and then we're going to look at the lines. We're going to string replace all of the commas and all the crap that we don't need completely out of it in order to make it like perfectly formatted text. Okay, you get me there? And then we're going to say the hex data is going to be equal to the hex data plus the line. If the hex data is not nothing, which means we did pull some stuff out, we're going to parse the questions and answers, and we're going to convert them from hex to a string, and the hex data is going to be parsed. And that's it. And in that, in this right here, this is where we parse it all and we add it to our list items. Like, so they'll actually show right here. You see that, guys? Super simple stuff. Now, what we have to do next, let me go ahead and run this real quick. Probably get a couple errors. This right here, let's comment that out real fast and give it a run, see if we can at least get it to go. Okay, looks good to me. So this will crash because we have no way to elevate yet. So we need to erase this. So we're going to have to call create process as system. Now, I actually have a unit that I'm going to copy and paste because it is a lot of writing. It's probably about 190 some odd lines of code. Most of them not written by myself. It's like the IDE generates a lot of stuff for you. But anyway, we're going to go to File, New, and then we're going to add a unit. And I'm going to paste this whole unit in. This is a unit called uSysAccount. And I'm going to also rename this. So let's go ahead and paste that. I'll just do uSysAccount. And I'm going to hit save. And I'm going to just save it as uSysAccount.pass and hit save. Okay, so this has to be imported to our unit 1. Okay, so in the top of the uses clause statement, I'm going to put that in there. And now we have the ability to actually call that create processes system and our elevated process, which is going to be command.exe. So when and I'm actually a little scared if I click this now, it might actually show you guys my real stuff. So essentially we're done, but I will go over this code a little bit, just real quick, try to like help you guys understand a little better. This code, this entire unit, its entire purpose is to ensure that we are elevated and we're using the system level token to be able to actually like do stuff, right? So so when we're looking at this, we're going to be using system classes, utilities, Windows, Service Manager, and Win Services. So these two are the most important things, right? So this unit, when we create, we're essentially creating a Windows service, which is going to be a T service, and it's going to execute whatever code we tell it to as system. You kind of follow me there, guys? So when we click the button, okay, it's a button one click. So when we click this, we're going to clear out our list view, we're going to prep ourselves, and we're going to set our desktop path up in our something.txt, and we're going to come down and create this program running from command prompt instantly underneath the user system level token level permissions. In other words, this program will run as system, okay? And then we're going to constantly check for the file until it exists, and then we're going to parse it and do all of our stuff and show our stuff on here. It's that simple, guys. It is literally that simple. So I'll go ahead and save this, okay? And I'm actually going to try to run this, okay? So I'm going to click Run. Now, my IDE is already running as UAC admin, so you should know that anything that runs under the context of something that was created with UAC will also be UAC. When I click Run, it's like I'm double clicking the exe, but I'm running it as admin. So it's like I'm right clicking the exe and going run as admin, and then it's running. Okay, so I'm gonna run this program. we got an error. Let's find out. Oh, I almost forgot. There's actually a little DFM file that goes with this. Basically, what you'll want to do is it's just a little file with some data and information, and it just sets the height and width and an on-execute event for a service account. I'll go ahead and just paste this in here. Let me show this real fast. And by the way, guys, in case you get confused, don't be worried. I will have all of this made up and properly posted to GitHub with all the source so you guys can go through it yourselves. But I'm going to go ahead and run this. And when we do, you'll see that nothing happened. Like this is just a basic program, right? And if I click this, everything I've told you should potentially happen. Like if I click this button, it literally shows us all of my stuff. And there you have it, guys. That's how you get in there and properly get the Windows secret security questions. So I hope that you guys have enjoyed this video. Let me, again, I told you guys I would try to explain this a little better. So like what'll happen with the system account unit is that when you call this on button click, when you're calling create process a system, you're calling you're calling uh, this right here. This is a procedure, and we're going to basically go through. You're checking if user is already running a system. If not, we're going to contact the service manager. We're going to create a form. We're going to give it a command line interface, and we're going to run our application. Else, we're going to free it, and we're going to create a new form and a new service, and then we're going to start our service. Now, this is the service register, so we're going to, like once it actually runs the service, it's going to install itself silently, and then like you have different things for like the service controller, so it's going to say that the controller is CTRL code, which is a double word. Essentially, what's going to happen is that we're creating a Windows service, okay, guys? And when that Windows service executes, this is the most important part, okay? So just try to really focus with me on here, okay? We have some startup information, which is a Windows API of startup info W. We have process information, which is T process information, and we have a pointer, okay? So when we do this, we're creating an environment block to the pointer of 0 true. We're going to zero out our memory, and we're going to start creating a process, okay? So we're going to set the startup info to the desktop of Winsta 0 default. This is kind of like a built-in, best I could figure out, it was like a default kind of account in Microsoft Windows, right? So then we're going to go ahead and let this this show normal. But here's the kicker. Because this is running on this context, the context of this desktop, the application, that being our program here, this whole thing, right? We're actually not going to see it because it's running under system. It's on the system desktop. It's on this desktop running a system. So we're going to create the process with our application name and our command line interface. And we are going to start it up with all the stuff that we just set up right here. Okay, so we're creating, this whole thing is creating a process, okay, guys? And once the process runs, it just runs. And that's it. And like, it'll run, it'll do its business, and then it'll exit the process. All right? So when you click this button, it's going to go through this, create your process running under system, and it's kind of a phased thing, guys. Like, so when if this were to run a system, like I told you earlier on the form create, this code runs and it checks to make sure you're running a system. If you are running a system, then it does all this and it extracts the registry and puts it to your desktop as a text file called something.txt. And remember, when you click this button, this will be in the background. This will be in the background doing all that dirty work for you, while this is just piping through, going boom. It'll be going like boom, 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 like that, waiting for that text file to be created. And when that text file is created, then you'll know that you created this program, this same program as system, and it did its job, extracted the registry key, and killed itself. And then you proceed with parsing and showing all the information on here. Get it? And that's that. So I'll run it one more time again. So it's running normally right now. There's only one instance of this on the computer running right now, and that's on my desktop. So if I click the button, what you're not going to see is that in the background, this program is going to run again, but it's going to run like on a different desktop context. So it's going to be invisible to us, and then it's going to go through and grab the registry because it has permission, because it's running a system. It's going to grab the SAM information and all that and the default user stuff. It's going to extract, it's going to export that registry key data, and then it's going to extract that registry key data, and then it's going to kill itself out of well, you could call it task manager if you wanted to. It's going to die, okay? And then this program is going to see that one in the background did all of its stuff and gave us the text file we needed, and it's going to parse the data and throw all of our questions and answers on here instantly. So watch, boom. And it happens in the blink of an eye because everything's super fast. So there you have it, guys, and that is how you do it. So I really hope that I explained this well. My God, I feel like I've been repeating myself for a while now, but I just want my followers to understand how simple this stuff really is. And guys, I'll have all of the code for you. So I'll have 100% of this on GitHub if you want to go take a look. It's really super simple, especially if you've understood a little bit about JSON, so you know how to parse JSON with, like you can create like a tjson object and do tjson arrays and be able to parse it and stuff. The really crazy part, also, if you guys want to visualize this a little better for yourselves, you can actually you can open your registry editor like this, but using Process Hacker, and I kind of forget how it's done. There's a way to do it. Like you just go in here, I think it's run as, and then you want to do win authority system, and then you would want to run like registry, like the executable for your Windows registry. Like here, I'll try my best to find this for you guys. Give me just a sec, guys. Right, so I actually did find it, guys. You just go to Browse, and then you want to go into C Windows, and it's just down here at the bottom. It's called regedit.exe. Just click Open on that, and I don't. Again, guys, I don't know if this is gonna work or not. I'll try it with you. We'll do service on that. Hit OK. And okay, so here we go. Now I was able to get into that, and as you can see, it actually pretty much instantly showed me everything. So you see this, guys? Like you see how like you can go into SAM, domains, accounts, users, and then all the way down to your user. And oh, you see, look at this. Look. So you see, this is the data that I was trying to tell you guys about. Like you've got your default thing there. You've got F, force password reset data. This is what you're interested in grabbing. Here, I'll close this out so you guys don't have to look at that. But check this out. If I double click that, this right here, these are all of your stuff. Like these are your security questions, guys. Like literally, these are your security questions, all of them. And the best part is, believe it or not, they're in plain text. They're not even encrypted. They're just in JSON notation. So like they're just JSON. It's just a big long JSON string, and you can pull them out and parse it and everything. And see that's exactly what we've done in our Delphi application. We've literally went in here, okay, went to users, went to this one, right clicked on this, exported it like this, right, and we called it something.txt, right, you follow me, and we went to desktop, and well, I can't do it, but you get the point. We hit save, and then boom, it does it. You get it? And then we have the text file, and that's what our Delphi application does. It takes that text file and it parses through it with JSON. Like it parses the JSON of the hex values that we drug and saved out of registry, and then it shows you your stuff on screen. It shows you your questions and answers on the screen. So there you have it, guys. All right, and again, I'll just show you one more time, just in case you guys want to see it again. If we click the button, it instantly creates a backgrounded process of this application, and it will run a system, look in the registry, export the registry that we're looking for, the registry keys and settings and stuff we're looking for, save it as something.txt on our desktop, and then it will parse it, or it will it will halt itself, and then this application will take back over again, and it'll look at the something.txt, parse it, and show us our stuff up here, and then uh, after that, um, that's it. That you've got it. So here, I'll click the button, boom, and you've got all of your security questions. There you have it. So there you have it, guys. All right, I'm gonna cut this off. It's been almost an hour-long video. I apologize for that, guys. The reason I make these so long is I try to talk a lot because I find that by talking about this stuff over and over again, a lot of newcomers tend to really understand a lot better, like what we're doing, like what's going on. And if you can understand what's going on, obviously when you look at the code, it's going to make a lot more sense. You kind of get that? Um, I just wish I had more time to sit here and code all this out for you guys and explain line by line, but Delphi reads pretty much like English. I mean, this stuff is so basic. Anybody could learn how to do this. Honestly, this is super basic stuff. Like really no secret to it. Um, so I mean, you just kind of look at it and you can kind of grasp, what we're doing here with this service thing. Um, this is the setting the service name, uh, the service, and the formatting of the date and time for day, month, year, hour. Probably minutes and seconds and all that, right? And we're setting it to the date of now. Like you see, it's super simple to understand all this if you just read through it. But in any case, guys, I'm gonna call it. I really hope that you enjoyed this tutorial. The download links and the source will be in the description, so you can go to GitHub and pull this source yourself. Um, and I hope that you guys really enjoyed the video, and I will try to get more videos out as soon as humanly possible. Okay. Anyway, I'll hit you guys up later. Peace out. Happy coding, by the way.